Hey guys, how's it going? So I wanted to talk about why NASCAR fans are some of the dumbest fucking retards I've ever seen. And retardation comes in many different shapes and sizes, but this is something that's a little bit different today. I mean, actually, autism working at such a high level that it's kind of surprising. Like, it was really surprising that I was talking to such intelligent people about something so stupid like this. Something so stupid. Something that we do. If you race in leagues or if you race in real life, you've done this before. I think we've all done it if you've done any of those things that I just said. Sim racing or real life racing. We lay back on restarts. We lay back on the leader just a little bit. We anticipate when he's going to go, and we fucking hit the gas and try to be side by side with him when he goes. Because if you're side by side with somebody and you just get left in the fucking ether of the universe because you didn't get in the gas at the same time he did, your race is basically over. And at Indianapolis, it was so important on the restarts to be side by side with your competitor that you had to really do whatever you could do within the rules to give you an advantage because the dirty air was crazy. We're going to see that right now because people had a problem with this restart, and you're about to see it. I have the volume muted. I'm basically going to tell you what's going down. Brad is laying back right here. I have, as you can see, Kahne is pretty far ahead, like, because he's the leader. Brad is at his quarter panel, pretty much. Now, Brad is laying back. He's also getting pushed. He started getting pushed right there. But he was laying back for the restart. And Kahne is in the gas, and he gets hit by Denny Hamlin because he sees them going. Kahne is still basically neck and neck with Brad Keselowski. He's just getting pushed by everybody on the outside lane. They're all fucking train pushing each other. Everybody on the bottom is train pushing each other. And then you can see it causes a fucking wreck. So there's the wreck right there. It's wild stuff, buds. But Kahne went. Technically. There was nothing that Brad Keselowski did right there that was against the rules. Because he laid back, he anticipated the start, he's going right about now. That's when he starts going, and that's when Kahne went, and Denny Hamlin anticipated it well as well, and tried to hit Kahne to get him going, and his tires lifted off the ground, like the back end lifted up off the ground because he was in the gas. Kahne was in the gas, full throttle, going. You wouldn't lift somebody up by their back end if they're not in the fucking gas. That's just not how it works. They would basically be a brick fucking wall. Kahne was not a brick wall. He kept going, and he still had his advantage at the line compared to Brad Keselowski. So, Kahne basically said, after this wreck occurred, he got on the radio, they were asking him shit, you know, the typical, why are you asking him right now? Why are you invading his space right now? Kind of questions, like right after a huge wreck. And he was basically like, man, I didn't even get to restart that restart. And it's like, well, technically you did. You restarted it when you restarted it. You went when you went. It's just somebody had an advantage on you, and it kind of made you mad. And I can see why he would say, hey, that guy just restarted the race for me. I'm not trying to shit on Kahne because I'm actually really glad he won the race because everybody wants to see that. Everybody wants to see a guy break that really, really long streak of not winning at one of the most famous tracks in the world. He hadn't won since fucking 2014. So it was a big deal. But Kahne has to understand, and I'm sure he does, and I'm sure he used it kind of just to be like, hey, NASCAR, what the fuck? Because that rule should be refined, but if you lay back too far, NASCAR will say, hey, you better get closer to this guy, you better get up a little bit further, we're not going to have any of that bullshit. Brad didn't lay back far enough for them to do that. But he also didn't restart the race for them, because as you can see, and as you will see in this video right here, Kahne does the exact same thing after bitching about it and says, hey, If they're going to let him get away with it, I'm going to do it too. And he fucking does, God almighty. He fucking jacks this restart. And you know what? Good for him. He did a good fucking job at jacking this restart. But here, first thing I need to show you. The perspectives between these two. Look at how far back Kasey Kahne is. He's all the way back to his quarter panel. Pretty much his back end, if we really want to be real about it. But he is at his quarter panel. He's watching him. This is what race car drivers do. They watch what the leader is going to do. But now, we're going to watch this really carefully. I'm going to put this in slow-mo a little bit so you can see what's going on here. I may as well mute that because that's going to sound stupid. But here. Kasey Kahne is still pretty far back. He's laying back as far as he can without NASCAR bitching at him. He just went right then. Watch it. Fuck. I don't like how YouTube's fucking zoom function isn't refined. But basically, he's going to get right about to here, and he's going to fucking go. Bam, he went. And now, he had to wait for Brad to start going. He anticipated it a little bit too early, but he started from all the way back at his quarter panel, and he was all the way up to basically about his number, because he anticipated the restart and got a good fucking restart. He got up to Brad, it made him think, oh, I gotta go. And Brad goes, and now watch what happens, because this package is the way that it is. There's no fucking reason to bitch about it nowadays. But when Kasey Kahne gets this good start, you're gonna see he gets up near to his door. Now they're neck and neck into the corner. I mean, literally side by side. And guess who's going to have the advantage at Indianapolis going neck and neck into the corner? Kasey fucking Kahne on the inside. And that is what won him this race. That is what won him this race. Anticipating the restart. Brad Keselowski did the same exact thing and got bitched at for it. So what is the fucking difference here? Where is the consistency in NASCAR fans' outrages? Because, if anything, I would be more outraged with how obvious this one was. Because it was a lot more obvious. He laid way further back. He had nobody pushing him. He kind of just went way before the zone, but then he had to wait for Brad to go because he anticipated it too early. In essence, Kasey Kahne's was botched as fuck, but it really worked out for him. But Brad's was a little bit more calculated. He timed it better. Shit just happened to go down and it gave him the lead because of it. You know, but Kahne's was a little bit more obvious. A little bit more, okay, he was definitely trying to jump that start, but Brad decided, I'm going to go in the middle of the box instead of the very beginning of the box. You know, NASCAR fans are really stupid, and that's a thing that I hate. Because there was no difference between these two, except for Kasey Kahne's was botched, and it made it look a lot worse than it was. But Brad's was pretty much squeaky clean between the rules. Like, he didn't really do anything different. But what made fans angry was they showed the speed differential between the two, and it showed Kahne and him. Basically, Kahne zoomed up from 59 miles an hour to 61 while inside the zone, and Brad, being laid back, he could go 63. So they saw the 2 mile an hour difference and said, oh, well, he was trying to start the race for Kasey Kahne. No, that's not what happened. He was anticipating the restart. He started getting back in the gas because he was further fucking back, you dumbasses. It's not a hard fucking thing. It's not difficult to understand why that fucking occurred. And Kasey Kahne does the exact same shit later on, except they don't show the speed differential, so every NASCAR fan that was watching that fucking race acted stupid and acted like, oh, he didn't do anything. They did the exact same things. And it's because this race absolutely required you to have a good restart. If you didn't have a good restart and you were second place coming out of turn one because of this package, because of this racetrack, you were fucked and you weren't going to pass the leader. So they had to have good restarts. But everybody blamed fucking Brad. Yes, I am completely on board with the fact that everybody hates Brad. I like Brad. I'm not trying to defend Brad. I'm trying to say, hey, look at what the fucking difference is between the two, and you tell me what you see here. Because what I see is Kasey Kahne was trying to anticipate the restart. Brad Keselowski was trying to anticipate the restart. But NASCAR fans saw Kasey Kahne just doing nothing wrong, and they only saw what Brad Keselowski did. And I had an argument with somebody today that is very fucking intelligent about NASCAR, understands the fucking deal, and he acted like it was his first fucking day watching the shit, and was siding like against me about the Brad bit, saying, oh yeah, he completely restarted that race for Kasey Kahne. Absolutely not. And Kasey Kahne did not restart the race for Brad Keselowski either. He made him flinch, though. You know for sure he was like, oh shit, this motherfucker's starting to go, though. Like, he would have heard his pipes out the fucking cockpit. He would have heard the brrr, and then he had to wait until Brad fucking went. But that means that that engine was primed and ready to fucking go. If he got any extra RPM there, and then he had to just let off a tiny, tiny bit, and then basically be able to get right back in the throttle, you would have more RPM than the leader. That's why he got such a good run down the front straightaway, and that's why he won that fucking race, by anticipating the fucking restart. And that's not illegal in NASCAR racing. And anybody who says, oh my god, they should change the rule now, you're dumber than hell. Because they absolutely shouldn't, because that's the kind of shit that, you know, NASCAR drivers need something that they can play with to see what they can get as an advantage. And that's something that has been done, I mean, for probably like, since when did they reintroduce double file restarts? 2009? Since about then. You don't want to be directly side by side with somebody unless you absolutely know when they're going to go. Unless you absolutely trust your spotter. And these two wanted to get a good jump on their competitor, and one of them did it better than the other, and that was Kasey Kahne, and he won this fucking race. So, people need to calm down and actually look at what they're fucking watching. I get so sick of seeing everybody doing that same old shit. Where they'll shit on one driver doing something and then completely ignore another driver doing something. They all fucking do that shit every week. Start paying attention to the restarts. You'll see it every fucking week. Everybody does it. It is not just one person. It is not just two people. It's not just 3 people. It's not 10 people. It's not 20 people. It's every fucking car in the field. If they had the chance to get a good restart like that, they absolutely would do it exactly like that. Get a good jump. And if NASCAR says, that was a fine restart, then you're not going to get caught for it. And these two shouldn't have been caught for it, because they didn't break any fucking rules. It's just Kasey Kahne's looked a little bit worse because he anticipated it too early, and then he had to slow back down and then get directly back in the gas again, because then Brad finally went. Brad's looked a lot worse because people were running into the back of Kasey Kahne, anticipating the restart just like Brad was. They saw Brad speeding up to be side by side with him when he finally went, and they immediately said, we gotta go. Ran into the back of him when he was already going. NASCAR fans are some of the dumbest motherfuckers. Start thinking with your fucking head and your eyeballs. Look at what your eyeballs are seeing. Take a closer look at shit. Don't just immediately assume shit. You know, I shouldn't have to make fucking videos like this either. It makes me so mad when I gotta do it, because I feel like such an ass. Because I have to be such a douche. But, dude, like, open your fucking eyes. If you really thought that Brad jumped that restart, you're fucking stupid.